It's common to face some challenges with mental health after having a baby, and sometimes it can be helpful to get more intensive support by staying at a dedicated mental health unit for parents with babies. These are commonly known as parent and infant units or mother and baby units. Lots of parents considering a stay at a parent and infant unit have questions or concerns, so we've asked people who have been there and done that about their experience.
When I had my first baby, I got quite depressed when she was about 6 months old. But when I had my second baby, I got much sicker. It was around that 6-month mark again. I think the cumulative exhaustion of those first few months kicked in, and I also went back to work quite early. I was managing a team, working 4 days a week with a toddler and a baby, and I just got really, really sick, very depressed and quite anxious, and wasn't able to sleep.
Started to notice that I was struggling to sleep during the night, even though my baby was sleeping, along with worries around his feeding. And once I reached out to my mum and asked her about that, she suggested that maybe I go to the GP. After getting a mental health plan, I started to develop intrusive thoughts that were really debilitating, and even with the help of my cousin and husband here, it wasn't enough support, and that's when we made the decision to go to the parent and infant unit.
The first I heard of a mum and baby unit was through my GP. I was actually quite scared that my baby might be taken off me or something like that if I disclosed how sick I was, but she was really kind and reassuring. She recommended that I go in for a stay. I think when an admission to a psychiatric hospital is mentioned, it's pretty normal to feel afraid of the unknown. It's not something that I'd necessarily ever imagined needing in my life.
I first found out about the parent and infant unit from my GP. It definitely wasn't something that I wanted to do initially. There was probably only concern about going there. It was something that I was terrified of.
The day that I was going into hospital, I was extremely anxious because I didn't know what to expect. But as soon as I was greeted at the mum and baby unit, I was taken to my room. One of the lovely psych nurses there sat with me to talk to me about what to expect during my stay. Once I'd settled into my room and unpacked, I realised I had absolutely nothing to do except for rest and look after myself and get better.
Once the decision had been made that I was going to come to the parent and infant unit, it all moved pretty quickly. There wasn't really a lot of time to think about it. Myself and my son Rory, we were brought into the unit and we were shown to our room. We just sort of got comfortable with the space, had a psychiatrist come and have a chat with us, and we spoke to the mental health nurses, and then we settled in for the night.
I spent my days doing programs, group programs quite often. I would see my psychiatrist one-on-one each day. I went for walks. You're very much free to do whatever you like with all of your free time. I got lots and lots of sleep. I took a lot of naps. I spent a lot of time in my room catching up. Every day I would grab a hot chocolate and go sit in the sun. I made friends, so I would sit and talk to other people and share experiences that were alike.
The nurses took care of the babies in the night time so mums could get good sleep. In the morning they would bring Bob in, we would have some breakfast, get changed, get ready, and then there might have been a group on in the morning, and then we would have had some lunch. I was allowed to have visitors. I was allowed to have my husband, family and friends come in and visit, and it made the space feel a lot less scary when there were so many people that I knew coming in to see us.
When it was time to go home, there's a really solid transition plan to make sure that you're ready. So I had a transition day, a bit of a practice run at home with the family, and then a night or two back in the hospital again, just to make sure I'd had all the support I needed and was fully ready to go home. The hospital nurses would check in with me very regularly after I went home to make sure that everything was okay. All the normal challenges that parenthood throws at you, I was just so much better able to cope with.
The ongoing support I received after I left was fantastic. I was given the number of the admin desk at the unit, and I was able to call the mental health nurses at any time that I felt that I needed to talk. For me, that was every night for about 2 weeks. When it actually came to me leaving, I think I'd felt so safe and secure in that unit. I didn't want to leave. That was another little test in itself. I felt so comfortable there.
So it's nearly been 3 years since I was first admitted to the hospital and spent those first 3 weeks there. Recovery from a significant mental health like that is not linear. You're definitely going to have the days where you're feeling quite good and you're going to have low days still. I'm not depressed anymore, but I will always struggle with anxiety, so I take medication for that, and I'm able to use the tools that I learnt in the hospital to help manage that day to day as well.
Everything now is good. I'm at a point where I never thought I'd get to again, where I would feel happiness. That's not to say that there's not still hard days. I still see my psychologist. I still practice self-care. If I could talk to any new mum who was in the position of potentially going to a parent and infant unit, it's okay to not be okay. This is something that no new mum would choose, and for me, it took me a long time to realise that it wasn't my fault. I hadn't done anything wrong. Your body's the perfect storm after having a baby. And even in accepting that and just accepting the support that's there, like you would if you had a broken arm or a broken leg, your brain just needs a bit more intensive support. It is the best decision that you could ever make for yourself and for your baby and your family.
One of my biggest issues was feeling like I always came last. Someone else's needs were always more important than mine. I had the support I needed every day to get better, and I was able to prioritise myself. For anyone thinking about coming into a mum and baby unit, I would say I can't recommend it highly enough.